I'm back! Did y'all miss me? Alrighty, so a lot of people have been asking what all happened while I was on my trip. Some people are asking where I was, and some people knew where I was and was asking what all I did. If you didn't know where I went, I was in China for about 10 days, so about a week. And so this video is going to be focused mainly on what all I did there. I have my itinerary here, and I'm ready to share all the details. And if you guys didn't know already, no, my parents didn't just randomly send me to China. You know, I went with my school and our other school. It was fun. It was a school trip. So no, my parents didn't just decide, hey, our daughter's 13. Let's just send her to China on her own, because that's a smart idea. No, that didn't happen. I promise. Alright, well, let's get started. Alrighty, so I think the first thing we need to start off with is the plane ride. So to get to the plane to leave the USA, I had to get up at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't sleep, but customs, the USA customs are insane. Alright, so it took us about 1.5, maybe 2 hours to get through the USA customs and stuff like that, and that's just leaving the United States. And then, you know, at first we had a short flight, just maybe 6 hours, and then we stopped in LA. We didn't have to go through any customs or anything there because we were just we're still in the United States. Alright. After that, we got on another long plane ride, which I think was actually only 13 hours to Beijing. The plane ride, for me, I like planes, so the plane ride wasn't bad at all for me. I was chewing gum, I was, looking on the little screen that they have on the seats, drinking sodas. I was having the time of my life, and they had like this little seats messaging thing app on the little TV, so I was talking to my friends the whole time. We had a huge group chat for everybody going on the trip. We all kind of talked about how excited we are. I loved it. And, I mean, the only thing that I really have to whine about is the fact that, so, as you guys know, planes that go out of the state usually have, they're set up to where they have 3 seats here, 3 seats in the middle of the plane, and then 3 seats on the other side of the plane. Alright, so I was sitting on the right side of the plane. I was on the aisle seat, my friend Jesse, and then a boy whose name I don't really know. I didn't really get close to him on the trip, so I don't really know him that well. I'll just call him the boy. The boy was sitting on the window seat. Now, we had no problem. We flew up into the air. The airplane gave its little safety procedures and stuff like that, and me and Jesse were talking. We were getting excited, and then suddenly the boy had used the bathroom. Now, there's no problem. You can't do anything about that. The thing is, and this is the reason why I'm whining here, is the fact that he had to pee every 5 minutes. Now that also would not have been a problem. He has a small bladder. We can't do anything about that. So me and my friend Jesse decided, hey, let's ask if he wants the aisle seat. So that way, if he has to get up and use the bathroom, he can just get up and use the bathroom, and me and Jesse don't have to get up every time, move all of our food and stuff, and our phones and all that. And it just saves a little time, and it makes it easier for him to be able to go up the aisle and use the bathroom. So we asked him. He was like, no, I like the window seat. Sir. That's the only thing I really have to whine about. And it's not really something that big. It's not like it ruined my experience or anything. It was just the plane ride, and that was only one of them. I just had to whine about that real quick. So if you know you have to use the bathroom every 5 minutes and you have the window seat, and they ask if you want the aisle seat, please just take the aisle seat. It's not like you're looking out the window the whole time. Please. It saves a lot of trouble. Alright, but other than that, I completely loved the plane ride. I love plane rides, everything about them. And I think we had a little bit of turbulence, but once we landed and I realized that I didn't die on the plane, turbulence sounded pretty fun. So, all good here. Alright, so we landed and it was about nighttime. We immediately met our tour director for while we're in Beijing, and we left to the hotel. We stayed at the Rui Business Hotel, which is a really fancy place, and if you ever think about visiting China, recommend it to your tour director. I mean, it's perfect. It's pretty much right in the middle of everywhere we went. It was just perfect. The people there were nice. Loved it. Alright, so as I said, we got there. It was really late. We kind of just got to the hotel. We had dinner at the hotel, which was our first time having a Chinese dinner. Now, our group was so large that we had 2 tables, which I was kind of happy about because, you know, we had our tables, you know, our group that we sat with at, you know, every mealtime. And I think the first night is where we finally, like, officially made that group, that connection where every breakfast and every dinner, this group would stay together. And it wasn't by like, okay, you guys sat together at the first night, you guys have to, you know, sit together. It was more of like a choice. And I kind of came really close with these people that kind of just sat with me during meal times. And I kind of really liked that. But the dinner in China and in most Asian countries, so in America, you order your own meal. You'll buy ribs and maybe your friend will buy a soup or something, you know, that's fine. But in China, what happens is you have this huge table, and in the middle you have one of those spinny thingies. And so you have your silverware, and everybody has their own silverware. In the middle, it's a whole bunch of different meals, I guess. It's like they'll have a rice plate, a vegetable plate, and they'll have a few other courses. And that's kind of their dinner. Everybody, you know, picks off of it, puts it in their plate. Everybody gets their own drinks, obviously. And, you know, that's just how it works. You guys all share a meal, which honestly made me feel even closer to the people, and I really liked that. It was fun. But after that, we got to decide who we were rooming with. We roomed with people, you know, 2 people per room. I roomed with my best friend Jessie, and we had a blast. Their hotel rooms were amazing. We had a view. I loved it. They had a window with a little ledge on it where me and Jessie spent a lot of our time after every night. We would kind of sit there and talk about what we did during the day, and we would just talk about random things, which I absolutely loved. The next day we got up bright and early, took showers, had breakfast, which the breakfast was really good. So we had breakfast at the hotel every day whenever we were in Beijing, and I had the same thing every day. Not because I didn't want to try everything else, but because I loved it so much and I knew that it wasn't that very popular here in America, so I had it while I could. So I had milk tea, which was absolutely delicious, and I definitely recommend you try it if you can find a recipe that you can make. It was delicious. And then I had, I think they're called pork buns. I don't know what they're called. It's kind of like steamed buns, but in the middle they kind of have like this beef stew. It was really good. I had maybe 2 of those every breakfast. It was delicious. And then purple steamed buns, which is just bread that was purple and steamed. So after the breakfast, we went out somewhere. Every day we went somewhere different, and it was so fun and action-filled. The bus rides were usually about an hour, and not because of the distance-wise, but because of the traffic. If you don't know already, China is really populated, especially in Beijing, especially in Beijing and Shanghai. So, and I know they have a lot of these in America, but in China they had it, like, you can't go down a street without seeing one of these signs. It was a sign, and then it had kind of like the way the roads looked, you know, they'd have the little lines and then the curves where the exits were and stuff like that. And then they were always either green or red. There was no yellow. And of course, if you haven't realized, green means the traffic's not bad at all, and then red is the traffic's terrible. So we always left a few hours earlier than we were supposed to get at our destination because of the traffic was the traffic was unpredictable. We couldn't really change that. I don't remember the exact order of the days, but I do remember where all we went. So we went to the Summer Palace, which was so fun and so pretty. This is the ticket to be able to get in. You can't really see it that well. I'll try to help you guys see it. But I kept this ticket, and I don't think anybody else did. So I remember that we walked so much on the day that we went to the Summer Palace. And I could argue that we walked nearly as much as I did on the Great Wall, which is a lot of walking. Because because the tour director didn't want us to just drive the bus all the way there. He wanted us to be able to walk in the streets, be able to kind of take in not only the cultural and, just ancient sides of China, but he also wants us to see, the more modern times and how the area, was built, how the cars move around, and, just people's everyday lifestyles. Like, you could see people, screaming and running down, calling a taxi like you would in New York. I just really liked that. So we did a lot of walking just to get there. We walked and stopped by a few shops a few times, so we had little breaks. I got milk tea there. Got milk tea almost everywhere I went because I'd never heard of it here in America, so I had it everywhere I went because it was really good. Whenever you get to the Summer Palace, there's like this huge river, and then on the left side of you there's kind of like a bridge to a temple looking area, and then on the right side is the actual Summer Palace. That is the perfect place for pictures, and the water was always so calm because there'd only be a few paddle boats out, but they'd be out in the middle, so the waves and stuff don't really get in, and it just looked so peaceful. And a lot of people there were quiet and respectful, which I absolutely loved, because here in America, people aren't that respectful about, cultural places. But in China, they take it very seriously. Like, yeah, you'll hear a few little kids screaming, but, a lot of kids my age and teens who, in America, would just scream and be like, wow, who cares about culture? There, they actually care about it, and they're quiet, they're taking pictures, they might talk to their friends and stuff, but nobody's screaming and yelling, they're all kind of appreciating what all they have, which I really liked about, the people there. So, a bit off topic for a quick second, our tour director sold us a few items. This is one of the items, which is kind of like a big summary of what all we did in Beijing. So, here's a big group picture of us here in the front page, and I'll try to get as close as I can. You can pause the screen and zoom in. I don't know, man. But, alright, I'm just going to use it to remember everywhere I went. Alright, if I butcher this name, I am so sorry. I'm sorry. Tiananmen Square. I can't even say square. Okay, Tiananmen Square. I tried. Anyways, this was this huge, like it says in the name, square, where it's the entrance, pretty much, to the Forbidden City. So this is where they host a lot of popular parades and stuff like that. Basically, it's this huge square. It's a concrete square. There's nothing in the middle of it. Maybe a few shops on the outside, but it's absolutely empty except for the people walking around. What's so special about the Tiananmen Square, if I can speak, was that was the actual entrance to the Forbidden City. This isn't the exact entrance. You still had to go through a few other what we called gates, but this was the first entrance. So what they have is, this huge block of concrete, and then they had 5 gates, different sizes. So they had the small gates here, the middle gates here, and then the one large gate here. And the reason why I'm explaining to you this to you is because I thought it was really interesting that the gates were different sizes. So I asked the tour director. The tour director explained that the smaller gates were the ones that we were going through because we are just ordinary, or quote-unquote ordinary people. We didn't have any military or government ranking. So we would go through the smallest gate. The middle gates are for people in the military, maybe commanders, stuff like that. The biggest gate would be for the actual leader, and maybe a few commanders or governors or whatever. The gates depended on the rank, because they believed that I don't want to get this wrong, and I'm really sorry if I do. But you know, the higher ranking you are, the bigger the gate you would go through, just to kind of give you some respect, and for the people, you know, going through those smaller gates to give you a bit more respect and honor, which was just really cool to me. And so that was Tiananmen Square. So next is the actual Forbidden City. Now, in the Forbidden City, they have exactly 9,999 rooms. Now, you may be asking, why not just go ahead and make it a full even number, 10,000? Well, that's because in their culture, I'm pretty sure 10,000 is kind of like a really bad number. So, and that 9,999 was a pretty good number. And so, kind of as respect to the people who lived in the Forbidden City, they only made 9,999 rooms to keep the good luck and the bad spirits away, which I thought was really interesting. Now, for those of you who didn't know, the Forbidden City was the ordinary people with no ranking were not allowed in. It was forbidden, hence the name. Only kind of higher ranking, rich people, the emperor, governors, and people like that were able to enter and actually live in the city, which is really cool. And there were a lot of stone statues there. A lot of stone statues. I took so many photos at the Great Wall. It's honestly unbelievable. So whenever we got there, we had a choice. So we got at one of the sections of the wall where you could either go to the very kind of top/endish area of the Great Wall, or you could just start walking down. Then at a special area, you could take a cable car back down. Now, a lot of people didn't want to go up because obviously up means harder. Your legs are going to hurt more. It's more of a climb. It's just going to hurt more, and going down is easier. So, me, Jessie, and then my new attained friend, Megan, decided that, hey, we're going to be the group of 3 because we had about maybe 2 to 3 hours, and we had to stay in groups of 3 because the teachers weren't going to stay with us. So we decided, as rebels, to go up. Everybody else went down because nobody else wanted to actually work hard and get to the very top of the Great Wall. I know that there was one other group who went with us, but then they quit halfway because it was really hurting their legs. I had to brag for a second because I made it. Alright, so me, Jessie, and Megan made our way up. We had so much fun. And not only because we were on this amazingly cultural area, you know, we were on the Great Wall of China. I can't believe I can say that I've walked on the Great Wall of China. Me, Jessie, and Megan were all kind of helping each other take photos. You know, we were just having a blast with it. And at the same time, we were like, inside, we were like, whoa, we're actually here. So the Great Wall was really, really fun. And plus the view from the very top was amazing. So if you guys are kind of wondering what section of the wall I took, if you look for like a map, usually the sections will be separated from like 20 to 1 or something like that. I went from, I think it was number 16, section 16, all the way to section 20. So, and then we had to walk back down. So, just in case you're curious. Alright, the food. The food is nothing like the Chinese food you'll find here in Texas or the United States in general. And like I said earlier, I liked the way they ate. You know, everyone kind of shared the same meal. Whenever you're eating, you don't really talk a lot. You just kind of eat your food, and after you're done eating and everyone's done, you'll set your chopsticks down, and then that's whenever you'll start talking. I think my favorite meal that I had there was, one, I had the lettuce wraps there. So good. I don't think I actually took a picture of it. I think I got the picture of the inside stuff, which doesn't look like the inside of the lettuce wraps you'll get here. It'll pop up if I took a picture. It's hard to explain. But the other favorite food that I had which I know for a fact that they sell here, is called a Hot Pocket. And no, not the ones that you get out of the freezer and put in the microwave for a few minutes and then take out and eat it and it tastes like pizza. Not that one. So what they did was they had this huge boiled pot, like this huge pot, and then in the middle of the pot they'd kind of separate it with a piece of metal, and underneath the pot, built into the table, they'd have a heater. So on one side of the pot, they'd have kind of what I call natural water, where they have water and then a lot of vegetables like corn, asparagus, vegetables. And they'd boil it. But on the other side, they'd have the same vegetables, water, but it was more spiced, like they added spices. So once the water was boiled, they'd bring in raw meat from different parts of the cow. And then what you'd do is you'd grab these special chopsticks that were only used to get the raw meat, and you'd put it in the little boiled stuff for 10 seconds. The meat would cook. You put it on your plate, and then you eat it. Then after everybody was done eating all the meat, what everybody would do was they would use a spoon and then get the water out from whichever side they want, and then they drink that. Usually we get stuff like we'd get different vegetables and put it in our little soup. Everybody got to choose their own, and then we drink the soup because we don't want to waste anything. And I loved it. So those are my favorite foods. And then, alright. And then we went to the Olympic parks, which, oh my gosh, was amazing. So whenever we got into the bird's nest, we were allowed to walk in, walk around. It's huge. Like, the inside looks amazing. The outside looks even better. And then there's so many seats. Whenever we got in there, they were constructing or working on the bottom floor, where the Olympians would actually compete. They were starting to remodel it because in 2022, I believe. Yeah, whenever I graduate high school, I'm pretty sure, they're going to be hosting the Olympics, the summer and the winter Paralympics in Beijing, I believe, if I have my facts correct. So it was just really cool to think that whenever I graduate high school, Olympians will be, exactly where I'm standing right now. And there was a lot of snow in there, like, on the ground. It's just snow. It was great. And then the water cube was beautiful. So they renovated about a quarter of the water cube into this water park, and it was huge. Like, it is nothing compared to the Great Wolf Lodge. It was like, I can just imagining Rose, Pearl, and Bryce going there, which, if you didn't know, those are my sisters and my brother. They would go crazy in there, and they wouldn't want to leave. But also looking at the swimming pools, I used to swim, not really competitively, but I used to swim, and like looking at the diving boards and how tall they were, and just thinking that like, Olympian swimmers have been in this very pool that I'm about to touch. That was just kind of amazing for me. My mom got a magnet of a picture that we took, me and the group, at the Olympic stadiums from Walgreen. So that was the Olympic Stadium. Beijing was now over, and we took a bullet train to Shanghai. A lot of people ask about the bullet train. Does it actually feel like you're going fast? No. It felt like I was in a regular plane, train. But whenever you looked out the window, you could realize how fast you were actually going, and it was just crazy. Alright, so then I arrived in Shanghai, where I finally got to see Connie again, which I was really happy about. So, while we were in Shanghai, I got to go to their school for a few days, which was really fun. Their school is a lot more stressful, just homework-wise, and the fact that they have exams every week and stuff like that. But I honestly liked their style of teaching a lot better, and that's just because of the type of person I am and my personality. So here a lot of people do hands-on experiments and stuff like that, but there they would, so they would teach you things, repeat it, get you in like a group thing, and then you guys would have like a competition or something on that thing you learned. And then whoever won got like a prize or whatever, and then, you know, after that, they'd repeat it again, and then, I mean, you'd have your notes by then, and class was over, because classes were only 40 minutes long, and then you had about 10 to 15 minutes for passing periods. I mean, I loved that version. I mean, school's a lot more stressful, yes, but it's a lot easier for me to actually understand things. Just the way the teachers taught there. I don't know. That's just me. Some people would argue. But while I was there, we learned how to waist drum dance, and a select few, sadly me, I'm kidding, but a select few had to perform it in front of everybody during a kind of like a talent show. I was included. I had to perform in, you know, the traditional Chinese outfits and do the waist drum dance, which was embarrassing because I can't dance or remember dance moves, so I kind of just messed everything up. So, alright, now the other things I got. Now I've already showed you a few things that I have. I got that book, I got, you know, the magnet, the wooden block that I just showed you. The school actually gave us this cup, which has our sister school and then our actual school logos on it. I can't show you my school because internet safety. But I like the cup, especially since I drink a lot of coffee. While we were in Shanghai, instead of going to classes at one point, we went to a tea ceremony. And there I bought Chinese tea, which I forgot what it's called, but if you can read Chinese, then hey, you probably know what that says. Oolong tea. Never mind, I know what it is. It's oolong tea. I can't remember what all it does. I remember it did something. But these are actual tea seed leaves things. I don't even know what they are. So you have to use a strainer to make the tea. But it's really good, and I don't put honey or anything in it, and it's still delicious. I love it so much. I love tea. Alright, and while I was there, our toy director sold for about $20 American this stamp, so I'm You're the Monkey, and I got stamp on my finger, it's fine. So it's carved out as a monkey for my, You're the Monkey. And then it has my name in Chinese. So this says monkey right here. But down here, it says Paige in English and then in Chinese, which is really interesting. And then it gives you a ink, just a paste ink. It's really cool. It's only $20 too. Alright, and then, so Connie took us painting. So this is my artwork. It was the violinist, very nice. I was supposed to add grass here, but I didn't. I'm creative. So I had a lot of fun painting with Connie. She's a really good painter. Alright, and then also I got clothes, and I only have one piece to show you, which this is a crop top sweater thing, which I really like, and I've worn like 5 times. I wore it on the plane back, and that's about it. That was my trip, guys. It was really fun, and I wish I could go back with all of my heart. Next up will be a kind of short slideshow of pictures that we downloaded from my phone that I took while I was there. They will all pop up magically.
be different, but my love is just the same. My lies if they hit the fan. So give me a reason not to shine as brightly as I can. I know that it scares you. Get used to what you see and know that I'm a helping hand. I don't wanna change you, I'm just telling you to shine as brightly as you can. As brightly as we can. As brightly as we can. As brightly we can. As brightly as we can. As brightly we can. As brightly as we can.
So now for my favorite and least favorite parts of my trip. And I say least favorite. I really didn't have anything that I disliked on the trip. Just something that kind of shocked me while I was there. Alright, so my favorite thing was going to school. Shocking. I know. I really loved that part. And as I said earlier, I just liked their way of teaching better in China. And school. I loved every part, but school is probably one of my favorite parts. For least favorite, and I mean I didn't have to use one, but squat toilets. So I have a really good bladder. So I didn't have to use one. I was fine. But a lot of people used them and they were like, oh, this is, at first they were like, oh my goodness, how does this work? How does logic here? But after using it, they said that it was a lot easier than actual toilets, which kind of shocked me, but I never wanted to use one because I myself was scared. I don't want to pee on my pants. No thank you. So I kind of was like, nah, I'm good. No, I'm good. So the squat toilets were definitely interesting, but guys, I got to experience a toilet that, like, the seat heated up and it gave me a massage. And it did that little thing where, like, the water could, like, squirt out. I didn't try it. I mean, I definitely tried the heat warmer, but another thing about the bathroom topic. Alright, so the showers. They had this little, or at least in Connie's house, they had this little remote where you would just click a button and the fan would turn on and the water would start heating up, and then you would turn on the shower and the water would already be heated up, which is really cool because I didn't have to wait. It was snazzy. Alright, that's about it. That's all I really have to say. As you guys can tell, I really loved my trip there, and I definitely suggest going there if you have the chance. Everything about it was amazing, but that's really all I'm gonna say for now. The pictures will either pop up soon or they have already, but for now I have to go do my homework, but hopefully I'll be able to see you guys again soon. I appreciate you for like sitting with me this whole time and listening to me talk about my trip. If you did like hearing about my trip, or you just were interested in any of the things I talked about, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see other videos. We don't just do, hey, I just got back from China videos. My mom does a lot of other different types of videos. You can definitely go check out the channel to see if any of them really interest you, which I'm sure they will. If there's any questions you have about my trip, or you just want to say something in general, the comments are always down there. Just go ahead and add your own. Thank you guys for sticking around with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!